Good afternoon. I'm Jim Para. I am the rector of Grace Episcopal Church in beautiful downtown Traverse City. And this is Comfort and Courage, where we get together at noon every Thursday. We are praying through this book, Celtic Treasure by J. Philip Newell, and just sort of centering ourselves for the week ahead. And I am happy to say that this week I don't have a reflection, but it's for a good reason. We need to cut this a little bit short because the Episcopal Peace Fellowship chapter at Grace Episcopal Church gives out an award every year. It's the EPF Peace Award to someone in the community who is is designated as a peacemaker. Someone who helps those around them fill out what we call our baptismal vows to seek and serve Christ in all person and to strive for peace and justice in the world. And the only time she can come in to receive this award with social distancing and masks and all that, and we'll record it so it'll be at the 5 p.m. service. We'll be dropping it into the 5 p.m. service on Saturday night, is in about 10 minutes. So unfortunately, we can't pray for too long. So before we begin, I have two pitches. Well, not pitches, actually. The first is I want to thank everyone. If you tuned in last week, you knew that I was a bit out of sorts and that I asked for prayers for my family. And I'm happy-ish to say, I was asking for your prayers for my mother, and it was because we were waiting for some test results having to do with cancer. And unfortunately, she has cancer, but we kind of knew that. But it appears to be very early, and that it is our belief and our doctor's belief that she'll be able to be surgically cured with a relatively non-invasive procedure in the early new year, or in early December. So there's that. I thank you for your prayers. I thank you for your ongoing prayers, and knowing what the way forward is and that the prognosis is excellent has obviously lightened my heart immensely. The second thing I wanted to share is that on Wednesday nights during Advent, which means that we will begin not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, we will be having a Zoom book group that will study together Time to Get Ready by Mark A. Villano, which is a Advent and Christmas reader that really sort of focuses on that sense of preparing for the arrival of God in our world and in our lives. And I like to go through it every couple of years with a group, because it just kind of unfolds with us. All right. So now we will pray together, and we will balance that desire to be centered and focused and still and at peace and slow with the fact that we don't have a whole lot of time. So I've lit my candle. Let's take a few breaths. We are on the 6th day in this book of what for us is a book of weeks. And we say, we light a light in the name of the God who creates life, in the name of the Savior who loves life, in the name of the Spirit who is the fire of life. Let us be still a moment and aware of God's presence within us and all around us. Moses returned to Egypt to lead his people from slavery into freedom. He told Pharaoh, the king of the land, to let the Hebrew people go. The king's heart was hard, and he became even more cruel. He called the slaves lazy and had them beaten as they suffered and as they worked. So Moses warned the king that his country would suffer if he did not change. Darkness settled over the land. The east wind brought clouds of grasshoppers that ate everything before them. Nothing green was left growing in the fields, but still the king's heart was closed. Thunder, lightning, hailstones crashed down from the skies. Tens of thousands of water creatures emerged from the flooding rivers. Frogs swarmed the royal palace. Toads slept in the king's bed. Tadpoles lined the kitchen cupboards, and slime covered the castle floors. And the magicians of the court could do nothing. Finally, even after more disasters, the king relented, saying, "Let the slaves go." So Moses and the Hebrew people began their march to freedom. Men and women, young and old, cattle and sheep journeyed together. An angel of light traveled before them in a cloud day and in a flame by night. It led them to the Red Sea, a sea of reeds where they paused to rest. But Pharaoh's heart was hardened again, and he came out to recapture them. Horses and chariots, riders and foot soldiers raced after the Hebrew slaves, but the cloud of God moved between them, and a mist separated Pharaoh's army from the fleeing slaves. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and an angel of the east drove the waters back with a mighty wind. By early morning, the sea had become dry land, and the slaves crossed in safety. Pharaoh's army followed, but the angel of God confused them. Chariot wheels became clogged with mud, and horses began to panic. Moses again stretched his hand out over the sea. And from the west, the dark waters returned. Waves washed away Pharaoh's chariots, and his soldiers sank into the sea. On the far shore of the waters, Moses and the people stood free, and Miriam, Moses' sister, led the women in a dance. In the silence of our hearts, or in spoken words, let us give thanks for the gift of this day and pray for the life of the world. And I am praying today specifically for those, and those are many, if not most of us, who are figuring out how we will mark the holidays in this pandemic season, who are torn between agonizing horns of dilemma and risk analysis and risk benefit around seeing our loved ones and embracing our loved ones in a manner that is going to carry some risk, or waiting it out and using these technological adjuncts that are wonderful but not the same. Knowing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It certainly appears that way. Who knows exactly how long that will take, but it certainly appears to be more like months than years, but also not weeks or days. So I'm praying for all of those who are asking God's wisdom and discernment as they figure out what they're going to do with their time, and with their space, and with their bodies, and their safety, and their celebrations, and their joy. And and since next week is on Thanksgiving, I will not be doing Comfort and Courage. So I also just ask God's blessing for all of you, whatever you choose to do, wherever you are, however you celebrate the holiday, that you may truly know gratitude in your hearts and experience God's love through that. For mighty winds that sweep across the sea, and your mighty spirit that disturbs the waters of life, thanks be to you, O God. For the spirit of freedom that stirs our passions and the longings for liberty that surge from human depths, thanks be to you. Within us, between us, and among us in our world, Hear the cry of earth's bound people. Within us, between us, and among us, O God, hear earth's cry for liberty. The blessings of heaven, the blessings of earth, the blessings of sea and of sky on those we love this day, and on every human family. The gifts of heaven, the gifts of earth, and the gifts of sea and sky. So this weekend, Saturday night, Sunday morning, streaming live, we will be celebrating the Feast of Christ the King. It is the last Sunday or last liturgical weekend of our church year, which means that soon we will begin the season of Advent when we prepare for Christmas. Christmas, as we all know, does not start until December 25th, at which point it is a season of 10 days. So, if your favorite radio station doesn't at least keep playing Christmas songs after the 25th, annoy them. But it should be a wonderful service, and it should be a wonderful sort of expectation of the new church year. And so if I see you then, wonderful. And if not, whenever I see you, however I see you, until then, may God's peace be upon you. Amen.